All right, today we're jumping into a pretty wild scientific book. The title alone, Biological Antenna to Humanoid Bot, tells you this is going to be a trip. We're talking about a total rethink of life, evolution, even consciousness itself. It's a journey that starts at the most basic level of biology and ends, well, with a humanoid robot. So let's get into it.
So, it all kicks off with this one big, mind-bending question. Can you build a conscious robot without any software? I mean, think about that for a second. Forget all the AI, the coding, the algorithms you've heard about. Can we actually create a thinking machine that runs on something totally different?
Now get this. A group of scientists behind this idea say the answer is a resounding yes. But, and this is a huge but, to even get close, it's not about building a fancier computer. No. They argue we have to basically throw out our old biology textbooks and start over with a brand new philosophy of what life even is. Okay, so what is this new philosophy? What's this secret language of life? Well, here's the core idea. To truly understand what makes something alive, you gotta stop looking at it like it's just a bunch of chemical reactions in a test tube. Instead, you need to start listening to it, almost like it's a symphony of vibrations and rhythms.
And they're not pulling this out of thin air. They actually draw inspiration from ancient Vedic philosophy, specifically the idea of Brahman, this concept of a single, eternal vibration that becomes, well, everything. So their whole premise is that we've been looking at life all wrong. We're staring at it under a microscope, analyzing every little piece, when we should be tuning into its native language, which they say is resonance.
And you can see just how different this is when you put the two ideas side by side. The old way of thinking? Life is basically a bunch of chemicals. The brain? Just a wet computer. And information is all about bits, ones and zeros. But this new view? Whoa. It says no. Life is vibration. The brain isn't a computer. It's more like a giant, intricate assembly of clocks. And information? It isn't stored in bits. It's stored in the geometry, the actual shape of these vibrating fields.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Vibrations, geometry, clocks, it all sounds a little out there, right? A bit abstract. But the authors bring it right back down to earth with a super powerful and concrete example. And it comes from a place you would never, ever expect. A virus.
So you know how most viruses work, right? Like the flu. It gets in, makes a mess, copies itself a bunch, and then gets out. But there's this special kind of virus called a retrovirus. And it does something way, way different. A retrovirus doesn't just visit. It moves in, unpacks its bags, and becomes a permanent part of the family.
So here's the play-by-play. The retrovirus gets into a host cell. Then it literally cuts and pastes its own genetic code right into the host's DNA. Now here's the kicker. If this happens in what's called a germ cell, the ones that make sperm and eggs, that piece of viral DNA gets passed down from parent to child forever. It becomes a permanent part of that species' genetic blueprint.
So what's the big deal? Well, scientists have found these ancient viral footprints all over our DNA. And one of the most incredible examples is a gene called synctin. This gene is absolutely critical for the human placenta, the thing that lets a mother grow and nourish a baby. It's essential for our species to exist. So, where do we get this crucial gene? You guessed it, an ancient retrovirus.
I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. A key step in our evolution, the evolution of all mammals, was basically engineered by a virus. A virus literally hacked our ancient ancestors' DNA and gave us a superpower we needed to thrive. This completely flips the script, doesn't it? Viruses aren't just these bad guys that make us sick. They're architects. They've been shaping the tree of life from the inside out.
All right, so viruses can physically insert new code and change our biology. That's a huge idea. But how does this connect back to the brain? How do we get from a virus to decoding the most complex object in the known universe?
Well, the authors take that same philosophy of vibration and apply it directly to our brains. They say we're missing the forest for the trees by focusing only on the chemical signals. That's just one part of the story. The real secret, they believe, isn't in the chemical soup. It's in the brain's physical structure as a massive electromagnetic system of clocks, all ticking and resonating together in perfect harmony.
And these images here give you a sense of what they're talking about. So try to push aside that classic image of a single neuron firing a little spark. Instead, picture this, these nested, overlapping electromagnetic fields, these complex geometric assemblies of clocks all humming together. In this model, information isn't just a simple zap. It's a shape. It's a rhythm.
It's a frequency. And this is the light bulb moment. Because if the brain isn't some unknowable, chaotic black box, but is instead a physical machine, an assembly of clocks that follows predictable physical laws, then it's no longer a mystery. It's an engine. And what can you do with an engine? You can take it apart, figure out how it works, find its blueprint, and you can build your own.
Okay, let's put all the pieces together now. We've talked about a new way to see life as vibration. We've seen how viruses can act as biological programmers, and we've looked at the brain as a clockwork machine. So, where's all of this going? What's the final destination?
The roadmap they lay out is actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, change your perspective. See life as resonance. Step 2, learn from nature's best hacker, the virus. Step 3, use that knowledge to map out the brain's clock architecture. And the final logical step? Take that blueprint and build a machine based on the very same principles.
And this is where it all leads. We're back to that first crazy question. The final goal is a humanoid bot that doesn't run on a single line of code. It's a machine built with electromagnetic antennas and sensors, designed to operate on resonance, just like our brains supposedly do. It would be a machine that literally thinks using geometry and vibration, not ones and zeros.
And that leaves us with one last, really profound thought to chew on. Our own history shows that our bodies were, at least in part, built by an outside intelligence, a virus that literally rewrote our code. So now, as we're on the brink of being able to build entirely new kinds of intelligence ourselves, it really makes you wonder, if a virus built us, what are we going to build next?